بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحابته ومن والاه. As our theme continues, inshallah, till the end of the 10 days, we will be talking about Ar-Rahmah. Ar-Rahmah. And today I would like to address Ar-Rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala down to his servants. Rahmatullahi subhanahu wa ta'ala is second to none. There's nothing like it. We can't even imagine it by our own minds. Allah Ta'ala, when He describes His rahmah, He said, وَسِعَتْ رَحْمَتِي كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. وَسِعَتْ رَحْمَتِي كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. So there is, what this means is that there is no existence today, nothing that exists and can sustain its existence without the rahmah of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. If He lifts His rahmah, everything will perish. Everything will suddenly perish. So whatever elements there are on earth that keeps things together, they're just means. They're tools. But the thing that keeps everything together in harmony is rahmatullahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wasi'at rahmati kulla shay. And part of that shay is us, human beings. Rahmatullahi subhanahu wa ta'ala alayna. And you can see that rahmah from the day that Adam alayhi salam ate the tree. I mean, there isn't anything that one can give an excuse for Adam except that he forgot. And he was seduced by the shaitan. But at the end of the day, he saw Jannah. He talked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He talked to the angels. And he still disobeyed, but rahmatullahi wasi'atuh. And he was given another chance. And likewise, we were given another chance. Rahmati wasi'at kulla shay. In fact, His rahmah supersedes His anger. Allah Ta'ala, one of His attributes, that He gets angry. Yaghdab. Inna Allah yaghdab. But His rahmah is more powerful, or He allowed His attribute of rahmah to over-dominate His anger. He said, سبقت رحمتي غضبي. فَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى تَسْبِقُ غَضَبَهُ. It comes before His anger. He would be willing to forgive and give mercy to a person more so than He's willing to be angry at a person. That rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes to such a degree that there's a hadith that the Rasul says, when Ibn Adam dies, there will be pain. He goes through pain. When Ibn Adam dies, there's pain with that. In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hadith al-Qudsi, He says, I hate to cause pain on my servant. And I know death causes him pain, but it's something that I have written on every living species. Meaning, if it was not written on all of us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not have wanted to cause that pain on a person that's dying because of His rahmah, because of His mercy. So that rahmah goes beyond the sins. Rahmah and forgiveness almost goes hand in hand. Listen to this hadith, Rasulullah. We will revisit this hadith, inshallah, on the second 10 nights, but Rasulullah says in the hadith al-Qudsi that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya abdi, لو أتيتني بقراب الأرض خطايا ثم لقيتني لا تشرك بي شيئا أتيتك بقرابها مغفرة. Ya Allah. If, oh my servant, and notice He said, Ya abdi, يتلطف إلينا. He's being gentle with us. He's showing how close we are to Him, because the best description of a person, a human being, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala identifies you as His servant. When Allah Ta'ala wanted to mention the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most precious moment in the Quran al-Kareem, He says, Subhana alladhi asra bi'abdihi, His servant. That is the greatest attribute, the greatest title that you and I can ever get. So He said, oh my servant, if you approach me with the equivalent to the soil of earth's sins, but you found me not committing shirk, I will approach you with equivalent of it, forgiveness. That's the rahmah. Look in the Quran Kareem, يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ وَاللَّهُ يُرِيدُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ مَا عَلَى الْمُحْسِنِينَ مِنْ سَبِيلٍ. Everything within the Quran al-Kareem, when it comes from Allah Ta'ala down to us, is based on rahmah. In the hadith, this man lived a century, 100 years, never committed a sin, not one time. Then he died. Allah Ta'ala spoke to him and he said, "Oh, my servant, do you think you go to Jannah because you've earned it, because of your hasanats, or you enter Jannah because of my mercy?" The gentleman thought through. Notice he never committed a sin. He said, "But I deserved it, Ya Rabbi. I go into Jannah because of my good deeds." Since the issue is about what you deserve, then that means there's an exchange you have to pay back. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said then, let me see you pay the blessings that I have given you. The blessing of the eyesight, the ability to see, just that. Pay me back for the ability to see. All of his hasanats could not equate the blessing of being able to see. He said, "Ya Rab, adkhulu al-jannata bi rahmatik. Adkhulu al-jannata bi rahmatik." And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala smiled and allowed him to go to Jannah. Look at the rahmah with this. You know, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, "La yadkhulu ahadukum al-jannata bi'amalin." No one is going to enter Jannah because of what they have done. He said, "Wala anta ya Rasulullah." He said, "Wala ana. Illa an yataghammadani Allahu bi rahmatih." Unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showered me with his blessings. His rahmah for us is on a day of judgment. He does not expose us. He allows us to stand alone in front of him. That within itself is rahmah. Imagine yourself being judged in front of all humanity, and you have to answer to every details of your life. All those secrets that you've hidden throughout those years, all those skeletons that you've had in your closet, all of the things that you have lied about, all of the things that will embarrass you if they were to come out. That would have been the most cruel thing to happen on the day of judgment. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his blessings, he takes us individually. And we speak to him individually and he forgives. You walk out telling humanity, I have been forgiven and no one knows what you have done. Because he says, "Satartuka fi dunya, fala afdahuka fil akhirah." Satartuka fi dunya, fala afdahuka fil akhirah. I secured you and did not expose you in the dunya, I will not expose you today. That is rahmatullah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His rahmah in this dunya, subhanallah, that he preserves your integrity. He preserves your integrity and forbids anyone else from exposing you. He said, "Man tatabba'a awrata mri'in, tatabba'a Allahu awrata." Whoever follows the faults of others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose the faults of his. "Man hataka sitra akhihi, hataka Allahu sitra." If you unveil the secrecy of your brothers, Allah ta'ala will unveil the secrets of yours. That's a blessing, that's rahmah. That man satara mu'minan satarahu Allahu yawm al-qiyamah. Look at the blessing. Allah ta'ala is not about exposing us because of our sins. You see the difference between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and us as human beings. SubhanAllah, we see someone not necessarily even did anything wrong, but in the wrong place at the wrong time. And we would assume that person to do wrong. And we will go out and tell everyone by the end of the next day, everyone and their mother has ever heard what that person did or didn't do or where he wasn't. Even though we're not allowed to do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is saying, "Man satara musliman satarahu Allahu yawm al-qiyamah." If any Muslim was to cover for his brother, And he's saying satar means there was something wrong done. It's not just that you were spying on that person. No, you did find something wrong that person did. He said, if you did not expose them, if you cover it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover your sins yawm al-qiyamah. That's part of the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء. لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء. Allah ta'ala does not love people that announce the wrongs, the faults of themselves or any other person. لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء إلا من ظلم. Situations where you have no option to get your justice except to talk about it. Otherwise, you're not allowed to. That's the blessings and rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at this. The last man going into Jannah, he will crawl out from Jannah, from hellfire to go to Jannah. He will crawl out. He barely made it. He spent years and years, millions of years in hellfire. He comes to Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah Ta'ala permits him to go into Jannah, cleanses him before that. He steps into Jannah and Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala tells him, what do you want? Look at the generosity, the mercy. This is someone that deserved to be in hellfire for a long time. He was the last person out. And Allah will ask him, what do you want? And then he would say, I want this, Ya Rab. I want that, Ya Rab. And he starts counting things that he wishes for. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him and gives him and gives him. Until he forgets. He doesn't know anything anymore. Nothing comes to his mind. So Allah ta'ala reminds him. He said, do you want this? Do you want that? And he continues, yes, yes, I do. Yes, yes. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, would it pleases you that I give you 10 times what earth is all about? Last person to enter Jannah. And he writes that I will never be disappointed or angry at you again. Imagine what he gives the people that actually enter Jannah before. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all he wants from us is recognition. Wallahi. All he waits is for us to acknowledge him. A man wakes up in the morning and he tells the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, I feel that I am a true believer today. How is that? How is it that you're a true believer today? He says, Ya Rasulullah, it's like I can see Jannah in front of me and hell behind me. He said, Arafta falzam. Okay, now you know. The acknowledgement was enough. The acknowledgement was enough. There's stories and stories of Sahaba and righteous people throughout history. They spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that it shook the universe. There's one of the Sahaba that even swore that Allah will fulfill what he wants, and Allah ta'ala did. من الناس من لو أقسم على الله لأبره. If he swears that Allah ta'ala will do something for him, Allah ta'ala will do so. Can you imagine that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you in situations out of his rahmah to do good. In the hadith, يَعْجَبُ اللَّهُ لِأُنَاسٍ يُجَرُّونَ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ بِالسَّلَاسِلِ. Can you imagine that? Allah ta'ala is amazed of individuals that they have to be dragged by chains to get to Jannah. Dragged by chains to get to Jannah because they didn't want to do the good deed. They did not want to. But Allah Ta'ala put them in a situation where they had no choice but to do so. And they did. And because of it, they deserve to go to Jannah. A man comes Yawm al-Qiyamah and he's embarrassed. He's embarrassed of himself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, do you have any good deeds? Any? His sins go as high as the sky can go. In the hadith, Sidratul Ufuq, I mean, there's nowhere to look around without you seeing all those files of wrongs that person lived his life with. And Allah Ta'ala asked him, do you have any hasanats? Anything? He said, no, Ya Rab. He said, but we do. We do have on our records one good deed. You said, La ilaha illallah sincerely from your heart. La ilaha illallah sincerely from your heart. Just one card. This person is like, what is this going to do? What is this going to do for me? They put that on one hand of the scale. All of a sudden, all those sins flew out. They were weightless, featherless sins out of the blessings and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He comes in to defend those who are his servants. Imagine Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha and what she went through. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She comes back, she loses a necklace, goes to search for it. She comes back, everybody left her behind. There was only one gentleman that was left behind. To make sure that they didn't forget anything, he found Aisha there. He takes her. He does what he's supposed to do, his duty. But people of evil intent went after her honor. The city was in chaos. There was so much talk about her that even the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not find within himself to deny the rumors. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from over 7 heavens came in to show her innocence. Revealed verses of Quran al-Kareem to be recited till the end of time. So people know that Aisha is innocent. What kind of mercy is that? She says, Ashku bathi wa huzni ila Allah. Ashku bathi wa huzni ila Allah. That's why we have no one that can protect us. No one that can provide for us. No one that listens to us. And no one that's closer to us than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The husband or wife that's sitting next to you right now, they're not closer to you than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. They don't hear your pain, your inner pain. They don't hear how your soul is suffering. They don't hear your sleepless nights at times when you're overwhelmed. But Allah Ta'ala does. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ. Who can answer the call of those who are desperate? As much as those who are around you love you, their ability to serve you is limited. In fact, when they do serve you, they're serving you through the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it's not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala putting them in your way to serve you, they would not have been there. And even then, their services is conditional. The moment that they feel like you're not on the same page with them, the moment they walk away. Allah ta'ala will never walk away. He never turns away from you until you're turned away from him. And even when you turn away from him, he's still with you. وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ بِمَا كَسَبُوا مَا تَرَكَ عَلَى ظَهْرِهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ. If Allah Ta'ala was to take people accountable by what they have done, none would be living today. But the mercy of Allah SWT, ta'ala, He hears even those who do not believe in Him. Even those who do not believe in Him, He hears them and gives them and offers them, protects them. That's rahmatullahi ta'ala. That insect that lives in the small places in the rock or wherever, it gets its needs. Its sustenance get to it. Rizquna ya'ti ilayna. It will come after us. We can't run away from it. That's the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Build your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Depend on Him. Have positive thought of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the Hadith al-Qudsi, أَنَا عِنْدُ حُسْنِ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي. I will be where my servant thinks of me. فَلْيَظُنَّ عَبْدِي مَا شَاءَ. Let my servant Think of me whatever he wishes. Think of him as the one that will forgive you. Think of him as the one that will not let you down. Think of him as the one that will bless you. Think of him the one that hears you. Think of him the one that embraces you. Think of him the one that will put you in Jannah. Think of him that will protect you. He is all of that and some. Don't ever put your fate in the hands of those who can't even control their own fate. Don't ever put your fate in the hands of those who can never take care of their own. Put it in the hands of the one that controls the universe. Put it in the hands of the ultimate rich. عنده خزائن السماوات والأرض. Put your fate in the hands of the ultimate power. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Qawiyyul Aziz. Put your fate in the hands of the ultimate wise and knowledgeable. Hakim and Alim. And everyone else cannot hurt you if it's not meant for you to be hurt. And they cannot help you no matter what they want to do if it's not meant for you to get what they have. وَإِن يُرِدْكَ بِخَيْرٍ فَلَا رَادَّ لِفَضْلِهِ. No one can deny it. So why put your fate in the hands of those who don't control anything? Their life can end in a blink of an eye. So put your life in the hands of the Hayyul Qayyum, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullah khair.